Alexa off.
48 years old. When did you start? When I was 15. 63.
Yes, one plate for each decade. Yeah, no worries. So it's like every year you gotta add a fifth plate.
I'm gonna roll with it.
Good luck with that. Yeah, let's go for it. All right. I'll sit here with you.
Does anybody need a notepad to take notes?
I will.
Stay back.
Do you guys need a notepad?
Slide on in.
Can you see my?
Please.
Oh, yes, you're all.
Julia, do you need a notepad?
Yeah.
You got one right there. You did have it.
So I tried these. It's fucked up energy. Heard of that brand?
Yeah.
It's like a newer brand. One of my
Anybody in here?
Good.
All right, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Well, thanks for coming tonight. Our estate planning seminar. I know there's a lot of things you can be doing on a Wednesday night at 6 p.m. A lot of happy hours probably still going on. But you chose to be here with us. We want to give you a lot of great information about not only estate planning, but really what we do at Arrive, how we help, how estate planning is going to help your family. And Ariel, who started this company with his wife 9 years ago, 19 years in the industry, is going to be given a lot of great information. But I just wanted to share a little bit about my story and why I was passionate, why I joined them, why they were gracious enough to bring me on as a partner a couple years ago. I was 40 years old. I had some pretty terrible things happen to me health-wise. For 2 years in a row, I ended up in the hospital with congenital heart failure. Second time I went back, this time it was not such great news. It's like, go ahead and you can go home and die. We can treat symptoms, or we got a couple other options. Through a process of dying twice in the hospital, I got a heart transplant at 40 years old. Before I had my first surgery, before that heart transplant, Adela came to the hospital. She did my estate plan to make sure we had the power of attorney, because we didn't have power of attorney. I didn't know if this was going to bankrupt me. We had a little bit of money, from the sale of my company and some other things, but this would have bankrupted me. And thank God insurance covered it. But we moved our assets into our trust that she set up for us. Really understand the power of it, and like the power of life insurance and retirement planning, and this being a big piece of it. So, but tonight, like I said, Ariel's been in this business for a long time. He's extremely knowledgeable. He's very funny too. You can pay me later. No, I'm just kidding. He's very, very funny. But the way he presents is something everybody's going to understand how this is going to help. And I want you to, if you have questions, just start writing down stuff tonight of questions you have. We'll address those as the three of us at the end. And then afterwards, if this is something you're like, yeah, I need an estate plan, I need to get this in process, there's a piece of paper that you can fill out in there. We can get it started for you. It's not as cumbersome as you think. It's actually about a 4-hour process, all said and done, gathering information, getting everything done for yourself. But I'm really appreciative of Ariel and Adela, this amazing company, Arrive, that they built, allow me to be a part of it. But with that, please help me welcome up Ariel Gonzalez.
So it's my job to come up here. I got to entertain you guys. Then I got to make a complicated subject of estate planning. I got to make it simple enough so that way we can all understand. So if I can understand it, you can definitely understand it, because I like things simple. So what I got to do first, though, is I got to let you know who we are. This is me. That's myself. But the best looking one here is her right back there. Been married to her for 27 years. She is actually the big boss. So I had to sleep my way to the top. Is that right? That's okay though, right? That's good. Right. And then there's Josh. He's a senior partner there. Josh and I have been friends for a lot of years. So he's an asset to the company, and we were friends before he had his incident with his heart transplant. But the fact that he's now part of our company, I mean, his story needs to be told, because when you have a heart transplant at the age of 40, nobody thinks about that. You're thinking of like, all right, maybe if he's in his, I don't know, what's up? What would you guys think is a normal age for a heart transplant? What would that be? Yeah, right. Nobody thinks of it at the age of 40. I'm 47. I'm like, oh, you're like long time down the road. And I'm like, well, I don't know. My dad passed away at 53, so I don't know. So there is no age. right? That's why you got to be prepared. So I'm going to do the best I can today. Like Josh said, please keep your questions till the end, but I promise you this, we will get them answered. Okay, we will get them answered, so just write them down, and I will have the brainiacs come up to the front, and I will promise you they will answer your questions correctly. Okay? So what brings you here? Understanding estate planning essentials. Now here's the thing. Understanding estate planning essentials. Here's the problem with too much information today. There's so much information that's readily available. It's just enough to be dangerous, right? It's kind of like WebMD. A lot of people want to self-diagnose, and you go out there and you're like, I'm kind of feeling like this, and you go to WebMD and you're like, I think I have this. No, wait, I have this. No, wait, I have this. Estate planning has kind of turned into the same thing. I think I need this. No, wait, I think I need the power of attorney. No, wait, I think I need this. What we're going to do is we're going to help clear up the fog and make sure you understand exactly what you need. Learn strategies to avoid probate. Probate's an ugly word. How many of us have ever had to deal with probate or know somebody that has had to deal with probate? Right? Really bad. Keep family and assets protected. That is usually why anybody attends an estate planning seminar. Okay? Now, what is estate planning? Well, what it usually means is it organizes assets and affairs. My grandma just passed away, when, baby, in April? May. And she had her stuff at the funeral home taken care of. She had those things taken care of. But one of my uncles said she was Catholic. One of my uncles said she was Christian. And then it was like, well, mom was going to say this, mom was going to have that. And it turned into this big old fiasco. And because my grandma didn't have anything, her affairs down anywhere, ended up being nothing. And nothing was said and nothing was done. And I'm like, my grandma deserved more than that. Ensures her wishes are fulfilled, manages preservation, administration, and distribution of assets. Families never fight over money. Ever. Right? Nobody does that. So who is estate planning for? Anybody know anybody that has a blended family? Right? Minor children with special needs or disabled adults? Those with specific health or end-of-life wishes? How about maybe people that have assets in other states, maybe own homes in different states? I know when COVID happened, a lot of people sold homes or even just rented out a home and moved to another state when they just wanted to, relocate or go to a state that was a little more friendly, I guess. Homeowners with rental property, those of you guys that have some business and mortgages or real estate, there's a good reason why. Business owners, anybody know any business owners? Do we have any business owners here? Yeah, you definitely want to protect yourselves. Individuals seeking to avoid family conflicts. Again, that comes back up again. I don't know why. Families don't fight. And those wanting to minimize taxes and legal fees. I am going to share with you guys a little bit about some of the fees that you are going to have to deal with if you go through probate. Because probate is expensive. I don't think people understand the fees that go along with probate. So let's talk about an estate plan, because I'll be honest with you guys. I've been in the industry for now 19, coming on 20 years. And estate planning to me was kind of like, it was this thing that I knew was important, but I really didn't know what it was. But it kind of, when I would say it, it kind of made me sound smart. Right? I'm like, oh yeah, estate planning is something everybody should have, but I had no idea what was in it. Well, I'm going to break it down to you guys and show you guys what's inside of an estate plan today. So when you leave here today, even if you do absolutely nothing, you will know what is exactly inside an estate plan. The first component is a will. How many of you guys came here with the belief thinking that a will was enough? Like, I read online and it told me that if I had a will, that is all I needed. Because that is a very common misconception. Well, on the inside, the common thought around a will is simply a wish on paper. The judge will take it into consideration, but it's not an actual plan, executed document. He will consider it though, but it's part of it, and it's part of an estate plan. A trust, a legal arrangement where your trustee manages your assets for your beneficiaries, meaning there's going to be a person that's going to be appointed, and that trustee is going to make sure that your wishes, however you choose, are fulfilled. Okay? Helps you avoid probate. And just so you guys know, and I'm going to share this with you guys a little bit later on, everybody here has an estate plan already. And I'm going to share with you guys why. Okay? Reduces estate taxes and protects your assets. Power of attorney. I didn't know this. My wife and I have been married for 27 years. We got 4 kids. 26, 24, 22, 18. 3 of them go to GCU. Now, my middle son, this was a couple years ago. He was 20 at the time. He had to have an emergency appendectomy. And so took him to the hospital, and they're like, yeah, we're going to have to keep him. It's his appendix, blah, 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 blah. And my wife, the nurse is there talking to my son. My wife is there. And the nurse is like, yeah, asking my son questions. And my wife is answering. The nurse is like, I'm asking your son these questions. And my wife is like, but I'm mom. Yeah, but your son's an adult. Do you guys have a power of an attorney? And my wife is like, yeah, at the house. So then she had to go get, but it made me realize, like, yeah, once they're 18, if you have kids that are 18 and you're still legally, if they're living under your home, or if they're not out on their own yet, you got to have the power of attorney if you want to make any kind of decisions for them. So right there, grants legal authority over a person, used when you are unable or unavailable to act for yourself. So you need to have that done. A healthcare proxy or medical power of attorney is kind of like what I was talking about as well. Living will and advance directive is powerful. Is a legal document that spells out your wishes for medical care. Do you want to be resuscitated? How far down the road do you want to go? If the bill starts getting too expensive, do you want them just to pull a plug? Like all those things, right? Use when you are unable or unavailable to make decisions for yourself at the end of life care. But what this is it keeps family from fighting. It keeps the kids from having to argue and figure this thing out while they're watching their loved one right there. There's no argument. Everything's done. Beneficiary designations, right, is a legal document that specifies who receives certain assets. I'm telling you guys, I've been in the industry for a long time, and unfortunately, I've seen families break up over $1,000. Not even joking. $1,000, and brothers are at each other's throats in front of the casket. Crazy. Life insurance, retirement accounts, bank accounts, home rental properties, you can actually designate all that stuff. Okay. Number 7 is guardianship for minor children, special needs, disabled adults. Here's what I didn't know until we started doing estate plans, and I think it's powerful. If you have special needs children that get benefits from the state, right? And all of a sudden, Aunt Susie leaves them an inheritance of, let's just say, $100,000, and finds out about it, the benefits stop because they say he's already got the benefits. He doesn't need our help anymore. Then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, that's eventually going to run out, but what happens after that? This eliminates all that big old mess from happening. Legally names guardians for children or dependents, ensuring care for education, housing, welfare, protects their eligibility for government benefits. It's huge. That is missed big time right here. That is missed. A lot of people miss this one. Catches them off guard. Number 8, asset protection. Strategies to shield your wealth. How many of you guys want to shield your wealth? How many of you guys want Uncle Sam all in your business? Wants to see everything you have? Wants to know that $600 you sent to Uncle Tom, right? He wants to see everything. You know, you want to keep them completely out of your business. Strategies to shield your wealth from creditors, lawsuits, taxes, and probate. Now, again, I used to think back in the day, if you passed away, your bills went away. So I thought, well, if you're sick, all those trips that you didn't go on, why not run up a few credit cards? You're going to die anyways, right? Why not? Well, I don't work that way because then your wife or kids are going to be stuck having to pay for that vacation that you just took. And then the pour-over will acts as a safety net for assets that have not yet been transferred. What that is let's just say mom thinks she put all her assets in the trust, and then all of a sudden she says, "Oh, I forgot to add this." This acts like a safety net to make sure that will be added to the estate plan. So all those components are going to be part of your estate plan. They are going to be all added to it. So when you leave here or when you get your estate plan done, all of that will be done for you. Okay? Estate planning is for everyone. So let me ask you, how many of us here have an estate plan already? Or even if it doesn't matter if it was 10 years ago, 100 years ago, last year. How many of us have an estate plan already? Okay. How many of us have ever thought about getting an estate plan at any point in our lives? Okay. Is that probably the reason why we haven't done it yet? Yeah, having an estate plan, the reason why, it's kind of like going to the dentist, right? We're like, I know I should get this tooth filled, but I really don't want to go to the dentist. And then what happens? It doesn't hurt yet. It doesn't hurt yet. I'm going to wait. Yeah, it sucks because I get food stuck in there, but I can deal with it, right? A couple of years goes by and you're like, it's really starting to bother me. It's kind of like estate planning. You're like, I know I need to get it done. I know I need to get it done. A couple of years goes by. You start to see things happening around you. You're like, oh my gosh, did you hear about that family? They went through this. They went through probate. Oh, and you're like, yeah, But really what it is, we just haven't gotten around. That is the number one by far. Don't have enough assets. A lot of people feel like you got to be wealthy to get an estate plan. And that is the furthest from the truth. Too young. I don't know how. Well, you don't know how. You probably shouldn't do it for yourself anyways. It's one of those things you probably want to have somebody do it for you. Okay? Too expensive to set up. No one to leave assets to. If you guys don't have anybody to leave assets to, I will give you guys my information. I will gladly take the burden off your hands. No problem. Okay? Too much debt. Yeah, you guys can keep that. Right? But this is by far the number one reason why. It just haven't gone around. It doesn't hurt enough yet. Now let's talk about people that we thought had their stuff together, but we found out that they didn't. Aretha Franklin. Who knows Aretha Franklin? Everybody knows Aretha Franklin, right? Woo! Died in 2018. Estate worth $80 million. So 2018, worth $80 million. It's settled in 2023. What was left? $6 million. Where'd the rest of the money go? Oh, probate fees, Uncle Sam. Man. Due to legal fees, unpaid taxes, and admin costs. Somebody made some money. Okay? Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's insane. You go to Vegas now and he still has shows. Right? You got like 100 people that still look like Michael Jackson. Died in 2009. Estimated worth is $2 billion. And his estate still hasn't been settled yet. Due to legal fees and family, disputes, the IRS valuation of his disputes of the IRS, they still haven't figured out the actual value of his estate. So it's not settled yet because the IRS is saying, we don't want to settle on a number yet because we don't want to miss out on any more money. Because how can you put a number on it? They still have his likeness everywhere. So it's still not settled. And he died in 2009. Okay? Prince died in 2016. Net worth $156.4 million. Estate settled in 2022. Oh, wait a minute. 6 half siblings named legal heirs and estate divided accordingly. So hey, 6 half siblings showed up out of the blue and said, "Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I deserve to get a little bit. He was my half brother." No way. Family doesn't do that. Right? But again, just examples of people that I would assume, because they're millionaires and billionaires, that they have an estate plan. Why not? Right? They're worth all this, but they didn't. This is right here to me is what really stands out. That's insane. 80 million to 6 million. It's a lot of money. So whether you do or you don't, everyone has an estate plan. Right? Remember I said you guys got one? You do. Let me show you guys. You have the state estate plan if you don't have a personal estate plan. Let's talk about that. Your probate court. People are like, well, I don't have a lot. Okay, you got a simple one, no problem. 6 to 12 months. Okay? I have a little bit of stuff, kind of, okay, well, that's 12 to 18 months. Complex stuff, you're a business owner, 1 to 3 plus. I mean, you guys saw the examples I just shared. Probate fees, 3 to 8% of the estate value. That could be hundreds, millions, depends on what you have. Right? Average is $15,000 to $35,000. Now we charge $19.95 for an estate plan. Josh, are we giving any discount today?
Yeah, we're doing $200 off, which we don't do.
So $17.95.
On our seminars, yeah.
So $17.95 or that. Court filings, attorney fees, executive fees, and appraisal fees. Okay? Family disputes. I already talked about this enough. I don't even have to go into this, right? But this is what's going to happen. Loved ones in limbo. Again, how many times? Did you guys know this? This is a side note, but it kind of lands in here. Did you guys know that less than 1% of all life insurance policies pay out? You guys want to know why? I've been in the industry for almost 20 years. I'll tell you guys the truth. Want to know why? One is, when you buy a term policy and you buy it for 10 years, and you don't die in 10 years, where's the money go? Insurance company got it, and you didn't die. So they won the bet. The house won. Right? Want to know how the other reason why they don't pay out? Because you had a policy, nobody knew you had it, you passed away, nobody knew you had it because you had no estate plan, it's never claimed. Billions of dollars go unclaimed in life insurance because nobody knows you have it. All because it's not noted anywhere. Once in a while, people will go through like your bank statements and they'll see like, oh my gosh, Corbridge, what is this? They'll call the 1-800 number and they will eventually find it. But for a long time, people won't know. And policy after policy after policy will go unclaimed. So less than 1% of policies will pay out. Not because they don't pay, insurance companies will pay. But they're either turned out or they go unclaimed. When you decide, here's the bottom line, right? Really what you're doing with estate planning is you're just showing love. That's what it is. Clear picture in place. There's no guesswork. There's no he said, she said. There's none of that stuff. Ease the burden. Focus on supporting one another. Avoid the courtroom. Keep Uncle Sam out of the picture. But for you, It's peace of mind. Here's the process. You open your portal, 1795, that activates your portal. What we do is we come alongside of you and we start to put in all your personal information, get all that stuff dialed in. Then we do the funding. What does funding mean? We get all your assets and we fund them so that way they're in the estate plan. And then we get them all printed out, we get them all notarized, executed, all the documents prepared. We put them inside your binder. That way when we're all done with it, you walk out of here with a fully notarized, executed estate plan that you can leave with, and you walk out of here with peace of mind. Okay? So, if you know people that have an estate plan, please let them know. It's important for them to keep it updated. Here's the reason why. Life changes. How many of us can agree in 5 years life can change so much? Right? Marriage, divorce, remarriage, kids, birth, grandchildren, death of a spouse, move to another state, assets can change, buy or sell a home, switch jobs, buy a business, sell a business, change the beneficiary. I mean, there's so much that can change. And so our biggest thing is when we find somebody that already had an estate plan. One is it was probably a long time ago. Two is has never been updated. And you know what? You know what's the scary part? Since in the last 10 years, they've gotten a divorce and the ex-spouse still has everything. Yes. And on the life insurance too. We'll go through the beneficiaries and I'm like, who's Nancy? She's still the beneficiary? Yeah. Yeah. It's important to keep it updated. Somebody get me pissed off. Okay? So questions. I'm going to invite the smart people to the room. Josh, honey, come on up. And I'm going to put the brainiacs in front of you. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to come up with the hardest questions you guys can have, and I want you to hammer them. Make them work, and I want you to make them work, and they can answer all your questions.
We've pretty much seen it all, so.
Yeah.
Any
So
questions?
what do you guys got? First one.
Nothing? Yes, Julie.
How do you put a house in trust if you have a regular mortgage on it? I tried to talk to them about it and they gave me a bunch of gobbledygook.
Yeah, it's a great question. So with a home, it's one of the few assets that's a titled asset that even with a mortgage, you can quit claim into the trust name. So like cars and those types of things, generally you can't until they're paid off. Otherwise, the lien holder, whoever you have the note with, is going to have to sign off on that. But mortgage companies automatically allow you to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of that funding stuff, we do it for you.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're like, all right, here you go, knock it out. No, we'll sit there with you and we will get it all transferred. If you have different 401k, whatever it is, we'll make sure a lot of that stuff, a lot of your assets are funded for you. That way you're not doing it on your own.
Yeah, and like with the home, like we prepare the quitclaim for you. We do so much to where we get it notarized with you while you're here. We give you a UPS label. We give you an envelope. Say stick a $30 check in there to Maricopa Recorder's office if you're here. Mail this in, and then that's it. So we do all the heavy lifting on that stuff because, you know, I don't know if you mentioned it. If you did, I apologize. But 65% of trust that exists out there,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, 68% have nothing in it. Right? So they went through all this process, spent all these money, usually with a lot of attorneys that don't, they don't care necessarily after it's all done, and they're not funded. So you got this empty safe. And that's what we want to make sure, because we're a retirement planning business. Last thing we want is not to have that done correctly.
Right. And
So,
that's
yeah.
usually the attorney's not their expertise. They don't want to do that. So it's a DIY sheet. I'm dealing with my uncle, it's too close, right? I'm the niece, so it's too close. I get it. So he's paying $5,000 with an attorney. Could have saved him money, but I'm still having to walk him through actually funding it because the attorneys haven't funded it for him. So that's the unfortunate, right? He paid all their money and he still hasn't had it funded. So I sent him templates and helped him walk him through step by step. And he's a blended family. He was married, widowed, now has another family. She has her kids, grandkids, like it's pretty messy. So it's important. And so, like I said, they're still disputing on the house. Who gets the house, right? She states claim, he states claim, who gets the house. So that's still in limbo. And he's a cancer survivor. And so he's in kind of remission right now in California. But again, it could flip anytime. So it's important. So even when it's done through an attorney, it still it may not be funded.
So one of those things for the reasons of them not getting done is like people say they're too young. Like what is something to make it attractive to like younger people in general? Because usually you think of this as much older people.
It's true. That's one of the major misconceptions, right? It's like it's too expensive. It's only for the wealthy people. It's only for older people. The reality is if you have children, number one, you need to have custodial documents, right? If you own a home, you need to have that in a trust. So as old as you are to have these things, that's when you need this paperwork. Power of attorney, everybody needs it. If you're over 18, you have to have a document saying who can control these things. So really, everybody needs at least a portion of an estate plan, and you need a trust at minimum if you have a home and you have assets that are titled to make sure that stuff wouldn't go to probate.
Right. Yeah,
Great
exactly.
questions.
I just want to piggyback on that a little bit because the special needs part of it is so much more important than people realize. Being a special needs mom myself and young in my 20s, I mean, he's 14. I had no idea that he would lose government assistance. And it's a big deal. So absolutely with me too.
Yeah, that's huge. And like just on that aspect, how that works is you have a special needs trust is set up. And that money doesn't go directly to that person. It pays bills on behalf of him. So that's not counted towards money to where it would knock him out of government assistance.
Yeah, exactly. The trust owns and then the trustee.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, distributes it.
Has
Pays
income.
bills. Yeah.
Pays their bills. Yeah, for welfare.
What other questions? Those are all easy. Those are softball. Give us some hard ones. Who's got that crazy uncle they want to know?
My gram just passed away.
Oh.
And my mom and her, well, she pulled my mom on the house, but it's in Florida and it's in like a 55 and over. And so the property's not owned, right? Because it's kind of like modular, depending on how you say it to certain people, they get freaked out. Pretty much glorified trailer on this property, but in Florida, it's beautiful. And so now, and my uncle, my mom's brother, is like a millionaire and all this stuff. And I keep worrying because my mom's like, no, I'm on the mortgage. We're on it together, so it's automatically mine. Is that true?
So mortgage and title are two different things. It's just still like I have it, I'm paying for it.
Okay, so it's paid off.
Mhm.
It's in both of their names. She pays the lot rent every month.
Mhm.
So I'm sure he won't fight her on her paying that every month, but the actual house, it was in both of their names because she got it titled. So does that truly?
So
go to my
generally,
mom?
I'm sorry first
No,
for your
no,
loss. So what transpires usually is when somebody passes away, Social Security, everybody's notified. Every state is different in regarding to contestability. So they have a window in which they have to notify the public, whether it's 4 months, generally like California or certain counties have 3 to 4 months that they have to notify the public. At which point, any heirs, right, next to kin, whoever your grandmother's children were, are eligible to part of her estate. So if your uncle stakes claim, he can fight them and say, no, that's part of mom's estate. That's rightfully mine. I know she probably did it, and they can contest. When did grandma sign over? Was she coerced in signing? Was her mental state, of sound mind? Like all of these things could happen potentially if, there's a strange child, that because grandma didn't have anything in place. And so they all have to go to court, and probate generally takes 30 to 45 days to get a court date, just to get a court date. And then now everybody has to go state claim. Creditors, debit, if she had any debt. The state is also claim if she took any benefits from the state. The state also has their right to state claim on her estate. Then they take the value of it and then they determine who's the distribution accordingly.
Because now that it's my mom, well, if my mom comes through with it, me and my 3 siblings are then going to each get a quarter of it
Mhm.
and be able to use it and all of this stuff. So then that would be the next thing, right?
Yes.
Is that we need
So if, yes,
something-
after passing all that and uncle doesn't stay clean and there's no issue after the window, then the name, yes, they can certainly, it's in their name. And then your mom and your aunt can kind of decide what they want. And then if you're gonna be an inheritance receiving it, then you can also, your mom essentially would need a trust so that she can state, okay, this portion, my 50% of the house is going into my trust for my children. And then,
I'm her executor. She says she has one, so that's why I'm asking these things. So when I go back,
yes,
because I'll be going back next week, and I'll be able to kind of look over her documents
Yes.
and just
Yeah, it's-
kind of see to make sure, as the executor person.
Right.
yes,
And if you're the executor, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a trustee. It doesn't mean there's a trust set up because every estate plan will have an executor. But unless there's a trust, there's not a trustee. Now, they're normally the same person.
Yeah.
But that's what you want to check on for sure.
and you can look too, she can put her portion into a quitclaim, into her trust, and that's where you go to the county, wherever it resides, and type in the address, and then that address will pop up, whether it's her name, so it might have your aunt's name, or both of their name, or it might have your aunt's name and then the trust name. As
But I wasn't
50%.
worried about it until you said lawyer, because they had their local lawyer in their small town do it, and now I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's the first thing, when somebody says, oh, they did it for me, okay, what's your address? Let me type it up, and I'm like, no, sorry, this is your biggest asset, it's still in your name.
Yeah.
So anything in your name goes to probate. Yeah. Great question, though.
You know, when my dad died very young, and everything that they had was in either or, for my mom.
Mhm.
And so she didn't think she had to worry about anything, and I was always under that assumption too, that if you have things titled either or, you're.
Sometimes. it
Yeah,
does
so it's like a
depends.
joint survivorship.
Right, survivorship.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, but that's not.
So it can be. So let's say, for example, they're both on the title, right? And for the home, then yes, it would go directly to her. And then if something happened to her, then, that's when it would go to probate if it's not in a trust. But yes, you have the joint right of survivorship if they're both on that. Now, if they're not both on that,
Right.
that is where issues definitely happen.
Yeah, because they ended up doing probate years later.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And that very well could be like that she wasn't on the home title.
Right,
Yeah.
and that happens a
I'm
lot.
pretty sure she was,
That does
but I
happen a
think
lot.
that they just decided that maybe it was time to change it over out of.
Mhm. Yeah, and they a lot, I see that a lot, rental properties, it might be the breadwinner has the main house, but they have their own community house, but then the spouse passes away, we've had to remove the deceased, prove that probate, it still has to go to probate code to prove that they are next to kin. And then once it's into the spouse's name, then we can transfer it into their name and they can retitle it. So we've done a lot of that with widowers. Another thing, you mentioned that you're a business owner. So businesses also are another thing to consider. If a lot of businesses are solo LLCs, it's just one person. And so in the event that happens, the person passes away, the business dissolves. So adding the trust as a member now allows the trust to act as a member and continue on the business in the absence of that primary or the business owner. So it's important if you have a husband and wife, and the husband or the wife is 100% business ownership of the entity. If that person passes away, business dissolves, and then they can't continue on. I just helped a family in Peoria that happened. The father died unexpectedly, heart attack. Son, mom, all work in the business, but they literally had to dissolve the business, had to reopen business. All their contracts went away because they had to go back and start all over again. So money stopped literally for 3 months. So the trust, they had the trust. I did the trust afterwards, right? But that's what initiated why they came in to see me, because that happened.
Yeah, and on that same note, a lot of times, even if we don't add it to like the LLC paperwork, what we do is we prepare what's called an assignment.
Right.
And the assignment's a notarized doc that says we assign 100% interest if something happens to this member. And if it's a partnership, we update the operating agreement to reflect that assignment is in place. That way, those shares go into there, and then the trustee can then have access to it. They can sell to the other partner if there's a partner, or if there's someone that's just going to take on the business, the trustee can take care of that. So sometimes you don't want to put it on there only because, again, it's a separate security, right? You have an LLC, well, that's isolated. You have your trust, that's isolated. You put one on the other, somebody comes after that LLC, now they can start looking into some of those assets. So we like to keep it separated in a lot of cases, but.
Any other questions?
Got a couple online here. So one first question here, starting with, so if like the original beneficiary passes away, are you able to set up a contingent beneficiary, and what is kind of the process for that?
So depending on how if it's an asset and they have the beneficiary, it's generally the spouse is the primary and then the trust is a contingent. And then when that happens, it goes right to whatever their distributions are according to what they elected in the trust.
Perfect, yeah. And then also, if you currently have a will and a power of attorney and other documents, do you just add those to the estate plan, or would you have to completely start over with those documents?
So you would use the same documents, we would just add those into it, so changing them. Ours is very comprehensive. Traditional power of attorneys that are online are very traditional,
Very
basic ones. This one is more in-depth and comprehensive, and so whatever your wishes are there, they're pretty much aligned with what we have, and then there's additional ones. But then in regards to the adding the trust, then you have, you know, your healthcare advance directive, your last will and testament, your living will, your end of life considerations. You have all the others on top of just those two, because just those two, you still go to probate. Those are just wishes on paper.
And I'll add just to this, if somebody has an estate plan that has a trust, but they haven't updated it in the last 10 years, and like Ariel was pointing out, life has happened and whatnot, a lot of times they need to get it redone. So what we do is it's called a restatement. So we still state all the things that were in place before, but we make any adjustments that need to, and it states back to the original date of the trust. On top, based on your current situation, one of the things and we make those changes for free. We don't do it. Again, we want to be, have long-term clients, and that's an added value that we give.
Any other questions? No? Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Beautiful.
No other questions?
We should wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you guys for attending. If you guys have any questions, yeah, if you guys have any questions, reach out to, or get with Josh and Adela or whoever invited you, and they will help you take the next steps. Okay, fair enough?
I just wanted to show like everybody what they get.
This is what it is. But there'll be paperwork in here, all notarized, bound, your assets will be in here. Your life will be in a binder, in other words.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.